I arrived at the descent shaft at 10:15 p.m., checked my lantern and spare flashlight, then rode down in the rusty cage to the heart of the mine. The main corridor, always silent, greeted me with an unnatural stillness. Not even the buzz of the fluorescent lamps, only the hollow echo of my boot on damp concrete. Operations log showed everything normal, but the air felt heavy, as if something had sucked the pressure out as it passed. I was walking the rails, inspecting fire doors, when I heard a dragged-out sigh. Not human, but of something that shouldn't breathe. I froze, swallowed, and aimed my flashlight. The beam landed on an empty cart, yet the creak continued, coming from a side tunnel. I stepped forward onto loose planks, and before I could shout, a cold breath brushed my back. I spun around. Nothing but the dark tunnel. I tried to chalk it up to fatigue, but my flashlight began to falter, the light pulsing as if someone pressed the switch from inside. I returned to the control post to swap batteries. When I opened the case, deep scratch marks lined the foam where I keep my equipment. My hands shook so badly, I nearly dropped everything. I slammed the case shut so hard the hinges squealed. Decided to patrol 5C Gallery, the most remote and least used. With each step, I heard a second set of footsteps, lighter but perfectly in sync with mine. I stopped, and so did the echo. I walked on, and it resumed right behind me. I quickened my pace. The echo matched mine, growing louder as if racing, to overtake me. When I turned fully around, I saw a humanoid shape pass through the stone wall in an impossible, inhuman motion. I sprinted back to the post, but as I passed the extraction chamber, a blast of cold froze my chest. My lantern gasped for light, and even the air looked visible, suspended ice crystals shimmering in the beam. I tried to speak into the radio, only static. I punched the mic, and amid the crackle, heard a muffled laugh, feminine, soft, but devoid of warmth. I headed up to the upper level to check the ventilation doors. When I arrived, every metal door was shut. I'd left them all open minutes before. I shoved on one. It stuck, as if held from the other side. With a violent heave, it gave way and slammed behind me in a deafening bang. In the inspection mirror's reflection, I saw a pale figure leaning against the wall. Head bowed, breathless, yet very much there. I blinked, and it vanished. Returning to the main corridor, I felt a prickling on the back of my neck. Then a scream tore the silence, loud, desperate, but mute, as if vocal cords had been ripped out. My lantern nearly slipped from my grasp. I followed the sound to the emergency exit, where I found the latch torn off, the lever hung out, as if forced from within. The red exit sign blinked, but the hallway beyond was too dark to see. Back. At the post, I pressed my hand on the control panel. All lights died at once. Only the lantern glowed, but it was too weak. Something brushed my left shoulder, a scrape of tattered fabric. I swung my light around. Nothing. The air felt empty, yet I knew someone, or something, had been there, breathing against my skin. Couldn't stay a moment longer. I ran for the service elevator, hit the button and stepped inside the corroded cage. The hoists groaned for what felt like minutes that stretched into eternity. Inside, total silence, until a heavy thud sounded above my head. My flashlight revealed deep claw marks tearing into the metal ceiling. I held my breath as the elevator shuddered, forcing a panicked groan from my throat. When the doors finally opened, I barely had the strength to leap out. The night sky was blanketed by clouds, no stars, only darkness. I glanced back at the mine entrance, a black maw staring right at me. I felt eyes on me from the depths, and for a heartbeat swore I saw a translucent face peering out before it dissolved into the void. Now I keep every light on in my house. I haven't taken a day off that would pull me away from daylight, and every time I pass an abandoned cabin near Black Hollow, that same freezing dread grips me. A silent invitation to return to the tunnels where something waits, hungry, ready to pull me back into the deep darkness. I'm the night watchman at the abandoned Riverside Railway Tunnel, just outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I never thought a routine patrol could turn into something I still can't shake off. I've worked these midnight shifts for 3 years, learned every echo and groan of the old iron rails. But what happened that night was beyond anything I'd ever known. I punched in at the small control booth, flicked on the overhead fluorescence, and tested my handheld signal lamp before stepping into the yawning mouth of the tunnel. The air inside was stale, thick with decades of coal dust and oil. The only sound was the steady hum of the ventilation fan at the far end, until I realized it had stopped. My lamp's beam quivered as I retraced my steps back to the booth. By the time I hit reset, it roared back to life. Walking the length of track 2, I heard it. A steady tap, tap, tap like metal on stone echoing from deep within. I swept my lamp ahead. Nothing but the glint of rusty rails. Closer now, the tapping sped up, matching my heartbeat. I froze. The noise stopped dead. Then, far ahead, a single loud clang as if someone dropped a wrench. Back at the maintenance alcove, I rested my lamp on the ledge. In its polished surface, I caught a flash, a figure just beyond the light's reach. I swung around. Empty air. My reflection in the lamp wavered, and for a fraction of a second I saw a second set of shoulders. Behind me, I spun. Nothing. I made for the emergency exit at the tunnel's midpoint. Partway there, I sensed hot, ragged breath across the nape of my neck. I whirled. My lamp sketched the walls, but no one. My own exhalations fogged the glass. Then, painfully, close, I heard someone or something inhaling slowly right next to my ear. I bolted. Halfway through the tunnel, the ceiling lights overhead sputtered and died, plunging me into near-total darkness. Only my signal lamp shone, its battery gauge, now flickering low. Though I'd replaced it 3 hours earlier, I tapped the side. The beam steadied. Ahead, 2 lights blinked on in the distance like headlights, but there's no train this late. At the service hatch leading into the old freight spur, I found the heavy steel door latched, though it had been propped open when I passed it earlier. I pried it, it groaned but swung free, inside silence. When I passed again 10 minutes later, it was shut and locked. The wheel turned hard against me. I shone my lamp down the siding. A dark shape hunched beside a stalled freight car. I called out. Nothing. I stepped closer. Its head snapped up, but the beam revealed only empty air. Still, I could feel eyes on me, and a low groan echoed off the metal frame. I tried the landline phone in the alcove. Static. Through the crackle, a whisper. "Stay." I hit redial. The same hiss followed by the soft click of the handset going dead. I decided enough was enough and headed for the exit. At the far portal, the sliding gate refused to budge. I jiggled. The control switch. Sparks flew at the panel. In the sudden flash, I saw scratch marks across the gate's inner frame, like claws. Then silence. When the gate finally ground open, I ran, lamp in hand, not daring to look back. I burst into the yard just as the sky began to pale. The tunnel behind me was a perfect black rectangle, silent, empty, yet somehow still alive. I've never returned to Tunnel 2 alone. Daylight jobs only now. And every time I drive past that yard, my radio crackles with static, and I swear I hear tapping, waiting for me to come back into the dark.